Something is wrong with these creatures. They crawl, adapt, and change in ways they shouldn't. Captured by cameras in forests, labs, deserts, and forgotten places. These are not movie monsters. These are real insect-like creatures exhibiting unnatural evolution patterns. Tonight, we count them down. From the least disturbing to the most shocking discovery ever recorded. Each clip grows darker, each case more unsettling. Stay until the end. Because number one isn't just strange, it's the one scientists still don't want to explain. Number 15. At first glance, this creature looks exaggerated, almost unreal. This is commonly known as the giant red-headed centipede, found in parts of Arkansas, Missouri, Texas, and nearby regions. Its bright red head and dark green-black body aren't accidental. This coloration is aposematic, a natural warning signal to predators that this animal is dangerous. Despite its size and appearance, this centipede is not a mutant. It is a documented nocturnal predator. It hunts insects, but also small vertebrates like rodents, reptiles, and amphibians. In some recordings, it can be seen lifting its body to catch small flying insects. Its primary weapon is venom. Scientific studies show the venom contains serotonin, histamine, lipids, proteins, and enzymes such as hemolytic phospholipase A. This cocktail can damage cell membranes and rupture cells, causing intense pain, yet it remains within known biological mechanisms. There is nothing paranormal here, no lab experiment, no unnatural alteration. What makes it unsettling is how efficient it is. Evolution pushed this species to the edge of what most people expect from an insect, and this is only number 15. The next creatures move even further beyond what feels normal. Number 14. At first glance, this looks staged, almost symbolic. What you're seeing is Creatonotos gangis, a moth species documented in parts of Asia and occasionally misattributed online to Australia. On social media, it's often called the Baphomet Moth or the horror moth, names driven more by appearance than by science. The most striking feature is its bright red abdomen and the long, tentacle-like structures extending from its body. These are known as chorimata. They are not weapons. They are scent organs, used by males to release pheromones during mating. When fully deployed, the chorimata create a disturbing silhouette, which is why many viewers assume this creature is deformed, mutated, or unnatural. But biologically, this is a known evolutionary trait, amplified by diet. Larvae that consume plants rich in certain chemicals develop larger, more dramatic chorimata as adults. There is no evidence of genetic manipulation, no laboratory involvement, no anomaly beyond evolution pushing visual boundaries. Still, when seen without context, it's easy to understand why this moth unsettles so many people. And as strange as this looks, it's only number 14. The next cases grow far more difficult to rationalize. Number 13. At first glance, this looks deliberately designed to intimidate. This insect is often called the spiny devil cricket, but that name is misleading. Scientifically, it refers to species within the Panacanthus genus, such as Panacanthus cuspidatus. Despite the nickname, this is not a true cricket. It's a katydid, an insect related to grasshoppers, native to the Neotropical region, including Ecuador and other tropical areas. Its appearance is what fuels the myths: a bright green body, sharp spines covering the legs and thorax, and a horn-like projection on the head that gives it a distinctly demonic silhouette. But there is no mutation here. These spines serve clear biological purposes: defense against predators, camouflage among foliage, and physical deterrence during close encounters. This species is nocturnal and predatory, feeding on smaller insects under the cover of darkness. Online, it's often confused with the Australian thorny devil, a spiny reptile with an entirely different biology. The resemblance is purely visual. There is no evolutionary link. Nothing about this insect is supernatural. Yet its form pushes against what most people expect from an insect, making it unsettling despite being completely natural. And if this already feels extreme, the next creatures evolve even further, beyond familiar limits. Number 12. At first glance, this looks impossible. The video shows what appears to be a spider the size of a Beagle dog clinging to the corner of a house while the homeowner records in shock. The scale alone is what makes this clip go viral. But this is where skepticism matters. There is no verified spider species capable of reaching that size. Even the largest known spiders, such as Theraphosa blondii, do not approach anything close to a dog's dimensions. That forces a closer look at the footage itself. Several explanations remain plausible. Perspective distortion, camera angle, low light, and digital compression can drastically alter perceived size. Objects closer to the lens can appear enormous, especially against flat surfaces like walls. In some cases, edited overlays or compositing cannot be ruled out. Common techniques in viral content. There is no supporting evidence, no measurements, no secondary footage, no biological confirmation, just a single clip designed to shock. What makes this unsettling isn't proof of unnatural evolution, but how easily the human brain fills in gaps when confronted with something that looks wrong. And as exaggerated as this may be, the next entries rely less on illusion, and far more on documented reality. Number 11. At first glance, this feels disturbingly familiar. The footage shows a centipede far larger than what most people expect, crawling along the corner of a house, its movement slow, deliberate, and fully exposed. The comparison with the previous case is unavoidable. Same setting, same vertical surface, but this time, the size feels harder to dismiss. Still, caution is necessary. While some species of centipedes can reach impressive lengths, scale perception is easily distorted on flat walls and tight corners. Camera proximity, lack of reference objects, and lens angle can exaggerate length dramatically. That said, large centipedes are real and well documented, especially in tropical and subtropical regions. Species within the Scolopendra genus can grow much larger than what most people encounter indoors, and they are known to enter homes while hunting. There's no proof this specimen represents a new species or abnormal growth. No measurements, no environmental data, just a single recording. What makes this unsettling isn't that it breaks biology, but that it fits just barely within it. And from here on, the line between exaggeration and genuine anomaly becomes harder to see. Number 10. At first glance, this crosses a line. The footage appears to show a centipede the size of a human, moving slowly across an arid, barren landscape. Each body segment flexes in sequence, creating a motion that feels almost mechanical, too precise to be accidental. If taken at face value, this would represent something completely outside known biology. There is no documented centipede species anywhere on Earth that approaches human size. That immediately raises red flags. The most likely explanations are visual manipulation, digital scaling, CGI, compositing, or the use of miniatures filmed against a distant background can convincingly simulate enormous size. The lack of environmental interaction, no disturbed ground, no clear depth reference, supports this skepticism. There is also no corroborating evidence, no additional footage, no eyewitness reports, no scientific follow-up, just a single clip circulating online without context. What makes this unsettling isn't belief, but uncertainty. The movement feels real, the animation convincing, and for a few seconds, the brain hesitates. From here on, the countdown enters territory where reality and fabrication begin to blur, and separating them becomes part of the fear. Number 9. At first glance, this feels claustrophobic. The footage shows what appears to be an unusually large spider inside a cave on a remote island. A human hand enters the frame, giving the impression of scale, and that's where the discomfort begins. But scale alone is deceptive. Cave environments distort depth perception, especially under artificial lighting. Shadows stretch limbs. Uneven ground removes clear reference points. This can make large spiders appear far bigger than they actually are. From a biological standpoint, island gigantism is a real phenomenon. Isolated ecosystems can favor larger body sizes in certain species. That said, even the largest known spiders remain within documented limits. Nothing approaching this scale has been scientifically confirmed. There is no location data, no species identification, no independent documentation, just a single clip recorded briefly without follow-up. What unsettles viewers isn't confirmation, it's proximity. The sense that something large, fast, and poorly understood shares a confined space with humans. And as the list continues, the environments grow more isolated, and the creatures less easy to dismiss. Number 8. At first glance, this seems like a clear case of gigantism. The video shows a large tarantula clinging to a tree in an arid region of California. Its legs stretch wide against the bark, making it appear massive, far larger than what most people expect to see above ground. But context matters. Several tarantula species are native to California, some reaching impressive leg spans. When filmed up close, especially on vertical surfaces like trees, their size can appear exaggerated. Bark texture, camera distance, and lack of nearby reference objects all contribute to this illusion. There is no indication of abnormal growth, mutation, or unknown species. No unusual behavior, no environmental anomaly. What we're seeing aligns with documented tarantula behavior, particularly during warmer months when individuals are more active and visible. Still, the setting adds unease. Tarantulas are usually associated with burrows, not elevated perches. Seeing one exposed, motionless, and framed against a barren landscape makes the encounter feel wrong, even if it isn't. As the countdown continues, familiar species begin to appear in unfamiliar ways, and that's when instinct starts to fail. Number 7. At first glance, this feels raw and unscripted. A woman in the United States approaches the entrance of a dark cave. As her light sweeps across the rock, something moves. Large, thin-limbed, unfamiliar. You can hear the panic in her voice as she says, "What is that?"
Yeah. What are you?
Online, the comments quickly offered an explanation.
It looks like
A giant sea spider. Also known as a pycnogonid, these creatures are real, and they can look deeply unsettling with long legs and small central bodies. But skepticism is essential here. Sea spiders are marine animals. They live in oceans, not dry caves. Finding one alive at a cave entrance on land would be biologically implausible. That raises alternative possibilities. Misidentification, a prop, forced perspective, or an unrelated arthropod whose shape is distorted by darkness and fear. There is no confirmation of location, no follow-up footage, and no expert verification. Just a moment of shock, amplified by silence, darkness, and uncertainty. What makes this clip effective isn't what the creature is. It's how quickly the mind fills the void when visibility is low and answers don't come. From here on, the encounters become more intimate and much harder to dismiss at first glance. Number 6. At first glance, this looks exaggerated by scale alone. Footage shows a large beetle calmly resting on a young man's hand. Its body is thick, glossy, heavy-looking, large enough to trigger immediate disbelief. But this is where perspective matters. Several beetle species, such as giant scarab and rhinoceros beetles, are among the largest insects on Earth by mass. When placed directly on a human hand, with no distance or reference, their size can feel unnatural even when it isn't. There's no aggressive behavior, no deformation, no abnormal movement. The insect behaves exactly as documented beetles do, slow, deliberate, almost indifferent to the human presence. There is also no evidence of genetic alteration or abnormal growth, no lab context, no environmental anomaly. Just a rare encounter with a species most people only see in photos or museums. What unsettles viewers isn't mutation. It's realizing how massive real insects can be when nothing separates them from human skin. And from this point forward, size alone will no longer be enough to explain what appears next. Number 5. At first glance, this looks biologically impossible. The video shows what appears to be a normal turtle, but emerging from its shell are 5 spider-like legs, moving in coordination as the animal walks. According to the clip, there should be 6, but 1 appears broken. If taken literally, this would represent a radical anatomical anomaly. Reptiles do not develop arthropod limbs. There is no known evolutionary or developmental pathway that would allow a turtle to grow spider-like appendages, let alone use them for locomotion. That immediately points to a more grounded explanation. The clip originates from an account associated with 3D graphics and digital content. The leg movements are smooth, symmetrical, and mechanically consistent, hallmarks of CGI or digital compositing. There is no visible interaction between the limbs and the turtle's musculature. There is also no veterinary report, no biological documentation, no independent footage. What makes this clip effective isn't realism, it's contrast. A familiar animal combined with an impossible trait triggers instant discomfort. This isn't evolution, it's illusion, designed to test how quickly we question what we're seeing. And from here on, the remaining entries blur the boundary even further, where the unnatural no longer announces itself so clearly. Number 4. At first glance, this doesn't resemble any familiar insect. The footage shows a large insectoid creature perched on a tree with broad, translucent wings and a thick larva-like body. Its posture is rigid. Its shape feels mismatched, almost as if 2 life stages were fused into one. But biology offers a grounded explanation. This appearance is consistent with certain large moths or caddisfly relatives, captured immediately after emergence. During this phase, the body can remain swollen and segmented, while the wings are fully developed but still settling into position. Lighting plays a critical role here. Night illumination exaggerates textures. Wing veins reflect light like stained glass, giving them an unnatural, almost avian look. The head and thorax can appear oversized when viewed from below, especially against bark with no scale reference. There is no indication of mutation, no abnormal movement, no deviation from known insect anatomy when examined closely. What makes this unsettling is timing. Catching a creature mid-transition, in a form humans are rarely meant to see, and from here on, the remaining entries stop looking like brief encounters and start feeling like discoveries. Number 3. At first glance, this sounds exaggerated. A group of explorers enters a cave and points their camera into a narrow crevice between massive rocks. At the bottom, something moves, long legs, a dense dark mass. According to the people filming, it's an enormous spider, described as being the size of a bear. If taken literally, this would be impossible. There is no known spider, living or extinct, that could reach that scale. Arthropod physiology simply doesn't allow it. Oxygen exchange, weight support, and muscle structure make such size biologically unviable. So, what are we really seeing? Caves are notorious for extreme depth distortion. A creature much closer to the camera, or much smaller, but positioned against a deep void, can appear colossal. Add darkness, echoing voices, adrenaline, and uneven light, and perception collapses quickly. There is no clear reference object, no movement toward the camera, no interaction that confirms scale, just a silhouette in a place humans aren't meant to explore. What makes this clip unsettling isn't evidence. It's imagination filling the darkness before reason can catch up, and with only 2 entries left, the remaining encounters no longer rely solely on darkness to disturb. Number 2. At first glance, this feels deliberately apocalyptic. A stationary camera records an abandoned city, partially swallowed by fog. Then, from behind the mist, something begins to move. Long legs emerge first, then a massive central body, what appears to be a spider of biblical proportions with branch-like growths, almost like rhizomes, extending from its legs. If this were real, it would defy every known biological limit. No arthropod could support that mass, survive exposure, or move with such balance. That immediately forces skepticism. The most likely explanation is digital fabrication or staged visual effects. Fog is frequently used to mask compositing edges. Backgrounds without movement reduce depth cues. The organic growths resemble stylized extensions rather than functional anatomy. There are no secondary angles, no environmental reactions, no independent confirmation. Just a single clip designed to overwhelm the senses before logic can intervene. What makes this disturbing isn't belief, it's atmosphere. Fog erases scale, ruins erase context, and the brain fills the silence with fear. And now, only one remains. The most unsettling case in the entire countdown. Number 1. This clip shows what appears to be a giant spider, pale white and covered in hair, discovered in a desert area of Arizona. The camera stays close. The size feels wrong almost immediately. At first glance, it looks like something completely out of scale for the environment. Its coloration is unusual, its legs seem thicker than expected, and the way it moves triggers an instinctive reaction. But skepticism is essential here. Desert lighting can bleach color, especially under direct sun or phone exposure. Close-range filming removes scale references, making small animals appear massive. And certain desert arachnids, or even solifuges, often misidentified as spiders, can look far larger and more aggressive on camera than they truly are. There's also the possibility of forced perspective, an animal very close to the lens with nothing behind it to compare size. No scientific expedition confirmed this as a new or unknown species. No verified measurements were taken. What we have is a short clip, nothing more. So, this case doesn't prove the existence of a giant desert spider, but it does show how easily our perception breaks down in extreme environments, especially when the footage gives us just enough to see, and not enough to be sure.